All right, welcome back to For Reels TV. I'm Amy.
I'm Eb.
We got some movies to talk about today because that's what we like to do.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the highly well-reviewed movie, Lady Bird.
Can't wait. And then we're also going to talk about Cook Off, a comedy mockumentary called Cook Off.
We're also going to talk about Justice League, finally. I know that a lot of you guys want us to talk about Justice League for a while.
It's better late than never.
That's right. And we're finally... That was great. Jinx.
You owe me a Coke.
And we're finally we're gonna talk about a documentary that's on Hulu called Too Funny to Fail.
Well, I can't wait to hear that. So stick around, and you're watching For Reels TV.
Let's go to the first movie, Lady Bird.
The first movie we're going to talk about today is Lady Bird, starring Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf. This movie is a coming-of-age type of movie. Saoirse Ronan's character is not really... Her name's Christine? Is it?
Well, she calls herself.
So she calls herself Lady Bird. One of my favorite lines in the movie is someone said, you know, you're supposed to write your given name. And she stone cold says, this is my given name. I gave it to myself, Lady Bird. I loved... This movie was it didn't really go anywhere for me.
Yeah.
There wasn't like a climax, and it ended kind of weird.
It definitely had an ending that felt very abrupt, but I enjoyed the ride that it took me on.
Me too.
Like the whole, like, I was engaged for the entire story. In fact, when it did end, I was kind of like, oh, that's it? Oh, I wanted it, like, that's the only thing I didn't like about it was how it ended.
Me too. It was like this peek inside this girl's... I just related to her life so much on so many levels. And I mean, the one thing I wasn't sure of is I really hate when people start throwing, oh, Oscar this and Oscar that. And they've been saying it about Laurie Metcalf's performance in this for months and months before I've even seen a trailer. Performance was great.
She does a fantastic job. I really love Laurie Metcalf.
The greatest thing she's ever done?
I don't know if it's necessarily the greatest thing she's ever done, but you know how sometimes things can be very political. She's had a monstrous career in both film and TV, and so I think that this is sometimes when an actress or an actor of that caliber has a big performance like this, it's a great way to give him a nod of like,
this is an opportunity to give a nod.
Yeah. So, I think that it's well deserved because she is an incredible actress and she does such good work.
I think Saoirse Ronan,
she makes this movie.
Since I've seen her in Lovely Bones, like she does. Well, I mean, she is this movie. I've just watched her. I'm watching her on the trailer behind us. She just lights up and encompasses every character that she does, like every little nuance, every moment, and you know that's not like the normal parts she plays with the swearing and the edginess. She had no makeup on. Yeah,
I mean, she looked great in the movie. She was so lovable in this film. Even when you knew that she was making a mistake as a character, you still, like, followed her with it. And, there's so many elements of this movie that I really liked. I felt like this is... Usually around this time of year, we get a lot of independent films getting, like, something around this time period and be like, oh, Oscar buzz, this is that independent film that, the dialogue's really great and it's really snappy and the performances are really good as well.
The relationships between the different friends and the boys and the mom's relationship and the dad and the priest.
Tracy Letts did a great job.
Broke my heart.
The priest was had my favorite line in the entire thing when after they put on a play. They put on Merrily We Roll Along, and it's after the play's done, and it just kind of pans over to the priest that is their drama teacher, and he's just sitting there, and he looks so defeated, and he says, "They didn't get it."
They didn't get it,
and it made me laugh so much.
Then cue to like seeing him like in a bad like sad.
Yeah,
I kind of wondered about that whole storyline, like if it was necessary.
I feel like something got cut out of that storyline because, like,
Yeah.
he disappeared,
And then
and then he comes back one more time, and then after that, you never hear about him again.
That was one of the other. Like, are they going to make a sequel, which would be weird?
That would be weird.
Is there going to be a spin-off show of Lady Bird? I would love to just watch 9 million things of Saoirse Ronan.
If she had a TV show, that would be
It would have
awesome.
to be on HBO though, or something like that, or Netflix.
Or like on a streaming service. I could see that
Hulu,
for sure.
something like that.
Amazon Prime. That'd
So what
be
would you
nice.
give it? How many reels?
I would give Lady Bird 3.5 reels.
I would give Lady Bird 3.5 reels.
Yay!
Yay!
We're on the same link once again. So, what did you guys think of Lady Bird? It got really great reviews. I thought that this movie was really great and charming.
I thought it was charming, beautiful. It didn't really go anywhere at the end, but for me, that was okay. I loved this movie.
I probably would have given it 4 reels if the ending wasn't so abrupt.
I don't know what they could have done to make it. There would have to, I don't know what they could have done. What else they could have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I loved it. 3.5. Tell us what you think. Tweet us. We're starting to get more active on there now. Tweet us, Instagram us, write us in. Let us know what you think, what you want us to watch. We should pretty soon. Let's start doing a what's it called? A live tweet.
Oh yeah.
When we'll watch movies that you tell us to do, and we'll live tweet about it.
Oh, that would be awesome.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's get on to our next movie.
All right, all my geeks out there, it's time to talk about Justice League. It's been a while. It's been out for a few weeks, but I definitely didn't want to go another week without talking about it.
Then it would be in
I know,
history.
just too far in the past. But this movie is very interesting. It stars many of these big stars that they got for Justice League: Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot.
I love her.
Oh, she's fantastic. She was great in Wonder Woman.
So good.
She's great in this. Jason Momoa. So anyway, so if you guys are out there and you have heard the things about this movie, there was a lot of concerns about this movie because they did a lot.
Face.
Well, yes. Well, there was that whole controversy. They had to do a bunch of reshoots and rewrites.
really?
So they actually, because this movie was originally directed and written by Zack Snyder, and then after having some previews, they brought in Josh Whedon to come in and do some rewrites, and they did some reshoots. So a lot of this movie is, kind of a weird ball of interestingness. In that respect, because you can kind of tell
who did what
and where, and the storyline is a little muddled, and yeah, it makes for an interesting watch. Now,
would you say it's more action? Is there comedy mixed in?
So, this movie definitely has a lot more comedy than its previous 2 films that Zack Snyder did, which were Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. I think that they heard a lot of the critiques from fans that the movies were so dark before, and especially with a character like Superman, he's very bright. Batman, yes, Batman movies are very dark. He's a very dark character, but almost everybody else in the Justice League is a very bright, vibrant character, and so this movie is a lot more playful, especially with the Flash. He is really the main comedic relief. Jason Momoa also has some great comedic moments as Aquaman, and yeah, so there's always going to be a controversy between DC movies and Marvel movies.
Right.
In my opinion, DC was killing it for years, with the original Batman and Superman movies, and then there was a shift, and I think right after they did the Dark Knight trilogy, Marvel finally got on board and started their Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's what has become the new norm of this is what a superhero movie is. And this movie kind of felt like DC trying to capture that, and it didn't quite work as well as one would hope, because it feels like this is something we've already seen before. So for me, I would have to give Justice League 2.5 reels. I like this movie. It's entertaining.
I'm surprised you gave it that many.
Yeah, I've seen it multiple times now, and I definitely liked it more the second time that I saw it, and then the third time I saw it, it just kind of solidified what I thought of the movie. This movie has a lot of fun moments in it. It has some really great things in it. For sure, but it also fell flat in some moments, so that's why I gave it the 2.5 reels rating. Right. So tell me what you guys thought. If you guys thought that's the whole having two directors working on it, if you saw the same sort of things. In the kitchen. Yeah. So
let us know. Give us a tweet.
Yeah.
Shout us out at 4Reels TV. All right, so this next movie we're going to talk about is called Cook Off. Cook Off is a comedic studded cast. Why did I refrain from saying star-studded? There's a lot of people that you know. There's Melissa McCarthy shows up. Wendy McClendon. Am I saying her name right? Mm-hmm. Ben Falcone, who is, I believe, married to Melissa McCarthy.
That is correct.
Jennifer Elise Cox. Sam Pancake. I know Sam Pancake. Shout out, Sam. So this movie, it's a comedy, obviously, and it's kind of done in the vein of a mockumentary. Best in Show, was that kind of like that?
Yeah, so there's, what is that actor's name that does all of those mockumentary films? He's married to Jamie Lee Curtis. Christopher... It's escaping my... I'm going to find out. I can't remember.
Hey, Siri. Who's married to Jamie Lee Curtis? Married to. Siri hates me.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, this movie, I started watching it not really knowing...
Guest.
Who? Christopher Guest, yes. I didn't know what to expect. The characters are funny.
They are?
I felt like it was one of my improv classes.
Okay.
So I used to go to Groundlings, and a lot of these people were former Groundlings. I'm sure of it. Mm-hmm. They were just over the top characters, and that's fine. It didn't really engage me. I might have nodded off a couple minutes. Yeah, I really don't. There wasn't anything about it that made it stand out for me that I'm like, this is one for the books.
Well, it's interesting because Christopher Guest kind of like founded that mockumentary like comedy style, and he, I don't believe this one is done by him, so it's somebody else doing that type of style. That
it's actually written by Wendy. She's the mom on Goldbergs.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, what's her name? Wendy.
But I haven't seen this movie, but as I watched the trailer, it
McClendon.
To me definitely feels like these guys all like were in workshops at the same time at some improv training place, and they decided, hey, let's put a movie together and we'll just all come up with crazy characters, and we need just a background to put them in.
Absolutely. Super low budge, just a bunch of friends getting together and reenacting their friends. Mm-hmm. Just having fun. That's what it seemed like. It seemed like a bunch of comedians getting together and having fun and doing. The mother was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
That's what it's all about. Is the characters. It's very character driven, and the characters are over the top, and I do like that. Story wise, I could have lived without it.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining enough. I would give it, if I had to pick reels, I'd probably give it 1.5 reels.
1.5 reels? All right. It sounds like something that I'd like to maybe watch at 1 in the morning when I can't get to sleep and just need something that's stupid and keep me entertained.
Don't watch it at noon. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And I watched it at noon. So yeah.
Cool.
I might change. So 1.5 reels for this one. I might change my mind after I see it again, but it's definitely worth a watch. Great cast. So yeah, this is the cook-off, and we'll be back with our next one.
So back in the early 90s, Dana Carvey was one of the biggest names in comedy. He had just been on SNL for many years, and he got the permission to do a sketch comedy show himself. And that's where this documentary, Too Funny to Fail, comes from. Now, this movie is streaming on Hulu right now, and I thought that this movie was very fascinating, and here's why. So the Dana Carvey show was a sketch comedy show in the 90s that only lasted for like a season.
Right.
And Dana Carvey basically wanted to do something kind of like SNL, but kind of push the boundaries a little bit more. And what makes this documentary so fascinating is that they literally had like nobody, like they couldn't get anybody famous at the time, but all of these comedians that were a part of the show are now like the big names of comedies of today. So Stephen Colbert was a part of this cast.
So it
Steve
launched
Carell,
them.
Louis C.K. Like all these big comedians all came from this show, and it's kind of about how they all thought that this was going to be their huge big break because it was the Dana Carvey show.
Right.
It was put on right after Home Improvement, and if you remember Home Improvement in the 90s, that was like the biggest show out there. So
Yeah.
they had an awesome time
Well,
slot.
thanks to Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
Yeah, I know, right?
He was
Because that's why everybody was watching Home Improvement.
That's why I was.
Oh, well, I can imagine why.
And The
you would.
Neighbor.
Oh yeah.
So also, so it's on. Did it just?
It's been out on Hulu now for probably about a month. I found it about a week or so ago, and like I said, it's just fascinating because it's.
Does it show how these?
It talks about their audition process and how
I
they got
love
into the
that.
show. Like they talk about with Stephen Colbert, like he sent. So the Dana Carvey and his writing partner for the show went to Second City to see Stephen Carell, but it turned out that Stephen Carell got sick that night, and his understudy went in, which was Stephen Colbert, and they really, really liked him, and so word got back to Stephen Colbert that they were interested in him, and so he sent in a video, and they show this audition video. It's right there with with his daughter at the time. He had a new baby born daughter, and you watch it, and he does this thing, and it's just not funny, and it kind of shows you like, wow, like. For me, I've been doing comedy improv for years now, and I remember back in the day when I was experimenting and doing different stuff, and it didn't care if it was funny or not.
Right.
You just threw out there whatever, and I think that this show really had a huge aspect of that. So I really love this. Like another thing that I found interesting is that like Louis C.K. like totally calls out the fact that Jimmy Fallon auditioned for this thing and actually did awesome in the audition, and that's why he didn't get hired, is because Louis C.K. saw him and was just like, I don't want to have to deal with that guy.
Jimmy
He's too
Fallon,
talented.
is he too talented?
He
always laughs at his own self.
He
right?
laughs at himself.
That's his
a
shtick,
lot,
and it's not my cup of tea. So it's the life and death of the Dana Carvey show.
Yep, pretty much.
And how many reels would you give it?
I would give this movie 3 reels.
Oh,
I thought
nice.
it was very interesting. It's always great to see big celebrities now and where they came from, and
The process. Yeah.
And to me, like, I love comedy, so listen about the great minds of comedy, talk about comedy, and kind of put you in their shoes a little bit. It's just awesome to watch, so I would highly recommend it.
All right, so we give it 3 stars here at 4 Reels TV. What do you guys give it? Let us know if you've seen it. Tweet us, write us, subscribe, love us.
Yeah, and that's our show for today.
We got one more, no?
No, that's the
was it.
4th. That's it.
That's the show for today.
That is the show
Thanks
for
for
today.
watching. You come back now, you hear? Next episode, we'll be talking about some awesome new...
We're going to be talking about another documentary that's on Netflix.
Oh, yes. So come back for that, and we will see you then. Thanks
Bye,
for
everybody.
stopping by.